Welcome to Strategies for Following Up with Employers. In this video, we will consider best practices in determining when to follow up with employers and how. Building relationships with your professional network is key to growing your career. Being intentional and showing initiative can be a great way to stand out to employers. Following up with employers is an effective strategy to make a positive impression. There are several common reasons for following up. One is to send a thank you after an interview, informational interview, or connection at a career fair. You may have a specific question that has come up about a job opening or the hiring process. Prompting the employer is another typical reason. For instance, you may have had a phone interview for a position and not heard anything back yet about your candidacy. In terms of timeline, it is best to follow up after an interview or connection with a thank you note within 48 hours. This ensures that your communication is received while you are fresh in their mind. If you are following up to prompt the employer about the hiring process, you may want to wait until after the initial deadline for the job posting or their stated communication has passed. If they said they would be making a hiring decision the next week after your interview, give them that time frame before following up. Decide what method you want to use when following up, whether phone, email, LinkedIn, mail, or in person. There are pros and cons to each method. Email is often the best and easiest strategy. A phone call may be more appropriate if you had a more sensitive or complex question, like asking about building accessibility and wheelchair access before arriving for an interview. LinkedIn can be a great way to connect with professionals, especially if you don't have other direct contact information for them. It also allows them to have more information about you and your professional experience. Mailing a card can add a personal touch, but is subject to lengthier delays. So it usually isn't a good choice for time-sensitive information like a thank you or follow-up after an interview, where an employer may make their hiring decision within a few days. Setting up a time to meet in person can be effective for scenarios like an informational interview, where you can learn more about the professional and tour their office. Stopping by an office unannounced isn't usually a welcome strategy unless you already work at that employer. Recruiters and hiring managers appreciate candidates who show initiative in reaching out and showing their interest in the position and company. You do want to follow professional etiquette and respect boundaries. Use professional language and tone, avoiding overly informal language or greetings. If you call someone and leave a voicemail, make sure to explain who you are, your question, and how to contact you, as well as have your own voicemail set up with a professional inbox message that identifies you by name. Hiring processes can take time, so set reasonable expectations and give the benefit of the doubt. The hiring manager may be out of the office for the week, or it may take several days to get a response to your question. If you've already followed up with an employer and not heard anything back, then I would generally advise moving on to other opportunities. When you are following up with an employer, there are several pieces of information to include. Use any notes and contact information you've gathered from previous communications with the employer. Make sure to identify yourself in your communication. You may mention your name, when or where you connected with them, the position you applied for, or something you discussed to help them remember you. Thank the professional for their time and any information they shared with you. If you have a specific question about the hiring process or position, include that. You will also want to reinforce your skills and interest in the position. There may be additional information that you want to share that didn't come up in your initial application or conversation. Perhaps you completed a certification recently or were honored with an award. Now I will share several examples of how to follow up with employers. The first would be an example of a LinkedIn connection request. So it might sound something like this. Dear Mr. Lockwood, I identified your LinkedIn profile through a common group, the American Advertising Federation, after reading your recent post on search engine optimization. I'll be graduating from Webster University in May with a degree in advertising and marketing communications. I see you're an advertising account manager at HLK. If you have some time, I'd be interested in speaking with you to learn more about your career path and to gather your advice and insight about working in advertising. Thank you, Gabriella Webster. Another example would be a follow-up after making a connection at a career fair. So you might share something like this. Hi, Joanne. Thank you for speaking with me at the Webster University Career Fair about opportunities at Vanliner Insurance Company. I enjoyed learning about the culture at Vanliner and the wellness programs available to employees. I have submitted an application for the underwriting internship through Handshake and would love the opportunity to be a part of Vanliner's mission of providing excellent insurance products and unparalleled customer service. With my coursework in business administration and statistics, as well as experience working in customer service, I believe I could use my knowledge and skills to positively contribute to Vanliner. Please let me know if you have any additional questions. Sincerely, Xavier Groves. And our final example would be a follow-up after an interview. Dear Ms. Jones, I enjoyed learning more about the role of finance intern and culture of Edward Jones when we spoke on the phone. I'm very interested in the position and wanted to check in about the anticipated timeline for intern selection. I've been enjoying my coursework this term in financial statement analysis and investments and would appreciate the chance to apply that knowledge at Edward Jones. Please let me know if you need any more information. Sincerely, May Emerson. Consider any next steps that you need to take. Follow through on any stated steps. For instance, apply to a job that was discussed by an employer at a career fair, or send them a link to your portfolio if they offered to look over it. Set reminders for any future follow-up. Perhaps an employer mentioned a timeline for when they typically recruit summer interns, or you want to follow up if you haven't heard back from an employer by a certain point. Reflect on the process. What was a successful strategy for you? Are there any changes you would make to your approach for future follow-up? Even if you may not be the right fit for one opportunity or company, you may be for something else in the future. Following up and creating a positive impression with that employer can be beneficial to you now or down the road. Now that you've learned how to effectively follow up with employers, take the next steps by implementing these strategies in your practice. The Career Planning and Development Center assists individuals with exploring and defining their personal career goals while developing the skills and confidence necessary to succeed. For additional resources on networking and the job search, see the Execute Your Career Plan section on our website or Connections 2.0 page, or make an appointment with your career advisor through Handshake